Hey everyone, welcome to Saturday Night Popcorn. This is Jason.
And this is Kai, and we have another great discussion for you today. The movie of the day. We're still continuing down our documentary of making of movies. This one is, I guess, a little bit closer or a little bit smaller of an idea. It's not really the whole movie, it's more of a scene, and it's a full on breakdown of a scene. But we're still going to give you a spoiler warning. This is the discussion for 7852, which is looking at the creation and implementation of the shower scene from Hitchcock's Psycho.
Yeah, right? Well, we do have a little summary right here. So 7852 is Hitchcock's Shower Scene is a documentary film that explores the making and impact of the iconic shower scene in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. The film features interviews with filmmakers, critics, actors, and experts who analyze the scene's technical, artistic, and cultural aspects. The film also reveals some behind-the-scenes secrets, such as the use of chocolate syrup for blood, the role of the body double, and the influence of composer Bernard Herrmann. The film argues that the shower scene was a revolutionary moment in cinema history, as it changed the way audiences and filmmakers perceived horror, violence, sexuality, and editing. The film is a tribute to Hitchcock's genius and his lasting legacy in the film industry. And I think that is a very poignant kind of like summary where it's like this, right?
I have a question for you. After you read that, a question came up. Do you think music, like I know people talk about music and scores of films, but do we ever talk about the importance of a sound or score within a film? Like, do we give it its credit?
I don't think we have never kind of like brought it up in our discussions, but like immediately things that come up in terms of sound and score are like things like Star Wars.
Yeah.
The Lord of the Rings kind of comes up where it's like things that are like orchestral and everything, where like they actually have like a full on orchestra kind of going on. And this is, you saw that there was a big highlight of the sound and sort of some particular sounds too.
And now it's iconic because as you were reading the description, I thought of how iconic the sound in this scene is. But then that also made me think of James Bond, Mission Impossible, like all of these big time films and series that have like one iconic sound that once you hear it, even just a note of it, you're like, oh, that's James Bond, or oh, that's Mission Impossible.
Right.
And like I think this film has it, or that scene has this, or has that, sorry.
And you saw it with some of the commentators or the people that come into this documentary, where it's like that one person said that his daughter like recognizes the sound from Psycho, and he was like, she doesn't even know what the movie Psycho is.
Like, she's 7, she's never seen it. Or even the guy that got the tattoo on his arm.
Yeah, right.
He got the sound tatted. I was like,
yeah,
dude.
That Patty was like, oh man, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's serious love right there.
What's interesting, I think we said it like right before we hit the record on this podcast, is that I think we both really enjoyed this documentary.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a documentary about one scene, basically.
Yeah. Like they talk about the entire
like there's
movie.
a whole movie around this.
Yeah, like they do end up talking about the whole movie, but it was really supposed to just be centered around one scene. And they gave us an 1.5 hour long documentary about one scene from one film. And that's a testament to Hitchcock.
And I think it also comes from Hitchcock himself. Yeah, I think so, because it's basically showing why he understood that this was going to be the most pivotal scene in his movie and stuff. And so that the fact that he wanted to kind of shoot this scene totally separate from his full-on Psycho film is kind of synonymous of him understanding that this is going to be the impact of like cinema for going forward and stuff. And it was interesting to hear that.
I wonder how he knew that. Like, I wonder what during the pre-production process, I wonder what triggered him to be like this scene is gonna change the world. Because like the fact that he took that much time and like you said, he separated it from the totality of the film to film it and make it perfect. He had to have known like this scene is gonna be revolutionary. I wonder what that was like as he was creating it. What made him be like, oh yeah, this is it.
And I don't know. It kind of brings up like two points in my head where it's like they read the shower scene from the novel of
Mm-hmm.
Psycho, and they were like, oh, it's like a very quick, not like non like impactful scene within the novel,
Yeah,
so to speak. And he kind of took it and like ran with it, where it's like this is going to be the biggest portion of my movie.
yeah.
Um, but also I'm thinking as he's doing this movie, or is it like, do you think he fully understands all of this, or is it because of after that everyone kind of like made all these connections? And like I like when I was hearing about everyone like on this documentary saying like, oh, this kind of like led to this kind of like influenced this, like, did Hitchcock understand all that in the moment, or was it afterwards that it was like people create the legend and build the lore around the making of Psycho, where, or the movie itself, where Hitchcock's like, I don't know if I knew it then, but it just kind of came about from my head.
I think he had to know to a certain extent. Like we had said before, the fact that he separated that and was like taking, I think he took what, 11 days or 7 days or something crazy, if not longer, to
Something
film
like
just
that,
that
yeah.
scene and however many takes it took and all the angles. Like I think he knew something. I think because of that choice of like, okay, we're going to take as much time as I think we need to make this perfect. I think he knew like, oh yeah, this is going to be something big. And then the fact that this doc kind of touched on films back then could only show this much nudity or only go this far or be this provocative. I think he was like, all right, let me push this a little further. Like we got to move forward as a people. Let me push this a little bit.
It is interesting because like throughout the whole documentary, you kind of hear from everyone else's thoughts on his influences, or like
Mm-hmm.
his, he almost has like this obsession of like, life sucks, so let's not sugarcoat anything,
Yeah,
and let's just show how life sucks sometimes and everything, where like there's that I think Guillermo del Toro said it, where like there's that variability in life, so he shows that there's that variability. Or like one other person said that like, oh, you can have one nice day before that, but then the next day you have cancer and you're gonna die and stuff. And so like
yeah,
stuff like that does happen. And I think Hitchcock kind of like took that and was like, all right, I can make these grandiose films that look like something or make you feel something, but inevitably it's reminding you that like, oh, things can go well, but also things can go horribly wrong
yeah.
and everything,
I
especially with the
think
scene.
I think the scene in Hereditary that's the next one that I think was a shocker to everyone. Because like it was there's definitely been some in between that, but for recent time, I think that that scene in the car with the girl in Hereditary was the one that like was eye opening to people. Like you didn't expect it.
Yeah, right. Like, and immediately when you said that scene in Hereditary, it like instantly came to my mind as to like what scene you're talking about.
Yeah,
And I think with this film, with Psycho, you're like, you instantly go to, there's probably some people out there that have like seen this movie and like instantly will always remember that scene, and
yeah.
like they're like, what is the rest of the movie about? Like it's just that shower scene, right?
Who is Norman Bates? Like
Right.
that's the funny part. There's probably millions and millions of people that have never seen the entire movie but have seen the shower scene or in some capacity because they they showed all the variations and the references that even cartoons use the shower scene in some capacity.
Yeah, that's true. Even like things that made for children
Yeah.
reference this shower scene, and it's like, and that's why that dude said that his 7-year-old child recognizes what's going on. I don't know.
Was there anything else that stood out from the doc when you were watching it?
I think the fact that like that whole intro is like this documentary opens up like a Hitchcock film. And already sets the mood, even though it's like taking some of the pieces from the film, but it's like it sets the mood, and it like, and the whole documentary is filmed in black and white too, and there's only portions of it that there's color is because Hitchcock used color inside of that movie that he made or something, or that movie's filmed in color, and it kind of makes you remember or forget that like he made this film Psycho black and white in a time where they were able to make color films, and so that was a deliberate choice by him.
And he said it too.
And he said why he did it, but even with these filmmakers that did this documentary, there's a deliberate choice to make it black and white, and it almost kind of like adds to it. And I think we both love the black and white like choice of any film.
Yes. I don't think it would have been as impactful. Like, I think people would have still talked about the scene if it was in color, but I don't think they would have I don't think there would be a full-on documentary about that scene if it was in color. Because I don't think a lot of people know that they remade Psycho in like 98 with Vince Vaughn. And they show it in the doc. They show
it looks like
the
crap.
Shower scene. Yeah. So I'm like, because no one talks about the reboot of it. They only talk about the classic black and white Hitchcock version, not the Gus Van Sant. Gus is dope, but nobody talks about that Psycho version.
I don't know. I was talking to Patty like right next to me. We were watching that. It's like that remake version of Psycho. Just it looks weird being in color. It almost kind of looks like a Saw-esque kind of motif, where it's like you're like, are you watching Saw? But then also I think the choice of the main character, the woman that they chose, I think it was not a good choice. I think I forget who, but yeah, I was like no, you automatically tell that that's a subpar version.
Yeah, they should have left it alone.
I don't know. What'd you take most from this film?
Just the intricacies of that scene. Like the different angles. Like they went super in depth. Like every angle was timed a different way. And okay, now she's showering, we're gonna do 3 seconds of her showering, and then we're gonna do a cut. But then once the murder occurs or the stabbing occurs, we're going to do 3/4 of a second, and then we're going to cut. And I'm like, who thinks of that? Like, I would just be like, yo, just show the person getting stabbed. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, let's time it. Like, that should be a little longer. That should be a little shorter. So, yeah, I couldn't be, I'd love to be a director, but I couldn't be an editor, because that's crazy.
And it was nice that they had multiple editors kind of making their comments on it, where it's like, yeah, I'm the one that has to do that.
To cut that. And they had to cut it with film. So they were like, all right, you got to cut it right here and then paste it and then cut. Like, now I can go into, we both can just go on DaVinci Resolve and just cut it now. Quick and easy.
And just do it ourselves and be like,
2 seconds.
Oh, that was nothing. It was crazy to hear that one guy say that it took like 13 years to have film figure out that they can make cuts in their film and like go to like another like scene. Like it was crazy that like everything was like one shot or continuous shot until someone like 13 years later was like, oh, how about we just put these two images together?
That's the beauty of technology is all I say.
Right. I don't know. Like, do you find any negative to this? Because I'm hard pressed to find a negative to this, where it's like it makes me want to watch the movie
Again, yeah.
afterwards, and it makes me want to watch more Hitchcock films and stuff, and or anything. Like I can't find a negative to this,
No, I didn't have any. I wanted to watch North by Northwest again after watching this doc because I haven't seen that for a while.
right? Or what's that one movie that like the dude like has a broken leg and like is like staring at his neighbors?
Oh, damn it! That's not Rear. That's not Rear Window, is it?
I think it's that one. Yeah, I think it's Rear
Okay.
Window. Because I like Hitchcock's like understanding that like, oh, when you walk past your neighbor's house and they're like doing something in their living room, like 9 out of 10 people don't turn around and don't look at it.
Yeah.
It's like we all just stare and everything and see what happens and stuff. But I just like liked his understanding of like human behavior, where it was like,
Yeah.
yeah, like this is what happens. Like no one's gonna lie. We all like to like believe that we're like safe and normal, but no, we're all Norman Bates.
We're all creeps. Yeah, we're all crazy people in some way.
Right. I don't know. Did you know that Jamie Lee Curtis was the daughter of that main character?
I did.
Janet
I don't
Leigh?
remember. Yeah, I don't remember how I found out, but I did, and I was surprised. And so, like, for her mother to be in like a horror classic, and then for her to be in Halloween is kind of cool.
Yeah, basically Jamie Lee Curtis is synonymous of being a horror like actress and stuff, and
Yeah.
and yeah, Patty was like, what? Like that's her? Like that's her mom? I don't know. Let me ask you this. Patty had a good question where it's like when you're doing a documentary, who says, because we randomly saw Elijah Wood was talking
Yeah.
as like a person that liked the
Yeah.
film.
Loved
Who like do they just like throw out like a giant net of like, do you guys want to talk about Hitchcock's like shower scene? And like whoever shows up, or like how do they choose these people?
I don't know. I was wondering that too because that's such a random get. Like Elijah Wood is very like, these are the things I do. So to see him, you're like, wait, what? You're going to talk about a Hitchcock scene for an hour and a half?
Right?
It had to be maybe the filmmaker knew him and was like, hey, I'm making this doc. Or it might have been just a word of mouth thing. Like, I'm making this doc about Hitchcock's shower scene. If you like it, come and talk to me. It might have been that. There's no telling. That was a super random
Right?
get, though.
Yeah, because it's like it showed Elijah Wood and then the two other guys that they had on the couch with them,
Mhm.
but it showed like a movie company. So basically, like he's part of like a movie like production company, I guess, or like something. They do something with whatever they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, that was a good question. Like, how the hell do you find out? Like, and like you said, like we've all talked about like Tarantino. The moment he's writing something or the moment he's like doing something, people reach out to him. Like, I just want to do
Yeah.
whatever with Tarantino. Like, someone must have found out like there's like a documentary being done, and he just like goes like wildfire throughout the Hollywood kind of people, and they're like, oh, I have to be on that or something, and then yeah.
I wonder how many people reach out to Tarantino and say, hey, I'll show my toes in your movie.
So you and I, yeah, that's we're two
Hey,
people.
If that means I can be in it, I'm down. This is his last movie. There's
like
one
high
thing-
fiving Tarantino.
Get the big toe. Get the big toe. There was one, I don't know if you noticed. So I'm a big fan of Legally Blonde. One of the commentators in this film was in Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a guy. He was by himself, but he was in a chair, and he had a beard and glasses. And I saw the face, and I was like, "Dang, that dude looks familiar." And so I looked up the name because the name was different. The name was like unique. So I looked up the name, and I was like, "God, that can't be it." So I had to go back to Legally Blonde on IMDb. I found the guy, and like I guess he changed his name or something. But yeah, it's the same guy.
Man.
After this, I'll send you a picture of the guy, and you'll be like, "Oh, dang!" But it was super random.
Hitchcock
Like Elijah
Psycho
Wood was
influenced
random.
Legally Blonde. Right?
Honestly, maybe.
Like, in terms of, I think we both enjoyed this, but it's like, I think in terms of like who you recommend this movie to, like,
Ooh,
I think that's a unique question, because it's like the reason why we like it, I think, is because we liked, like we were the type of people that would buy movies, and like I want to listen to like the director's commentary. I want to
yeah,
listen to like behind the scenes and stuff.
yes,
And there's some people that don't like that. They just want to watch the movie and whatever and stuff.
yeah,
But
and then peace out.
like, yeah, like who would you recommend this to?
I would say people with the same ideas as us, or same interests. Like anyone that's interested in reading the book. Like when you used to get DVDs, the booklets that used to come in, and you can get all the little details about the film. I read the back of the DVD. Anyone that used to watch the behind the scenes portions of a DVD or Blu-ray, whatever. Yeah, anyone that wants to get more details about a film or a show that they're watching would be super into this. And if they're Hitchcock fans, they would definitely be into this.
Yeah, I think so too. Where it's like there's some people, yeah, that go out of the way and like look at all the behind the scenes, how much this movie was cost and everything, and this kind of shows you like a unique view into the mind of Hitchcock and everything, and some other notable directors and editors and stuff, because you kind of do get a lot of the editing side of like how does that, like that's got to be chaotic and everything, and like you hear some terms too from the editing side, like crossing the performance stage, right? Is that what I heard, where like they they like cross over to like the other side where you believe a camera would be, I guess,
Oh
but you're
yeah.
seeing like the opposite side of the shot.
hmm
So stuff like that.
And I still don't know how they shot that shower head. Like I know the
I
one
was gonna
editor
ask you that
explained
too.
it,
The
but
guy described it, and I'm
yeah,
like, how does that work? Like,
yeah,
and then they showed how gigantic the cameras were. So it's like, how does that work?
yeah. Like you're under a shower head with a gigantic camera just shooting up at the like. ah, I want to see
Like, all
behind the
right,
scenes
well,
of that. Like, show me how you shot that. Like, because now it's easy,
we'll,
but
we'll
back then
destroy
it's
the
like, dude,
camera,
what?
but we'll get the film. It's fine.
The camera will be wet, but we'll get this amazing shot because he
Right?
made it
Like,
sound so simple.
yeah, he said he
He
plugged up the
plugged some
middle
holes.
portions,
Uh-huh.
and then like you weren't under the camera. He said you're like far away from it. But I still
Sounds
can't
like
figure out
bullshit.
like how
Yeah,
the hell. Yeah, I'm like, all
because you
right,
were under. They were
there's
going
some
up. Like that's bullshit.
that's movie magic that we talk about.
Photo or didn't happen. All right, photo or didn't happen.
I don't know, but if you were to give this, I was like surprised. I actually wanted to rate this movie
Oh shit.
or
Okay.
this documentary and stuff, and it's hard because it's like this is probably one of the better documentaries, and I don't know, maybe because it's like it gave us like the nerdy insights of like
Yeah.
how does this scene look like and stuff, and how does this scene work and all of this stuff, and because I think I can like I enjoyed this documentary better than like Hearts of Darkness and Burden of Dreams, the last
Yeah.
two that we just watched, because I
Yeah.
think this gave us like actual like film kind of background that we wanted.
Yeah.
And it's self-contained, I think, because like this documentary was like all about one scene, where like the Burden of Dreams was like, how the hell do I move this boat and everything, and how do I talk to these people that live in this tribe and everything? So I was like, oh
How
my
do I
god,
help
like
these
so much
people?
crazy. Yeah. I don't know.
But I think you're right.
Yeah. Any last words?
Yeah. What would your rating be?
I was like, I don't know. I was thinking about 5, but
That's
I was like, a documentary. I think this is like a solid 4. I think it's a solid 4 for a documentary and stuff. I think the fact that it's on one scene is crazy. It's like an hour and a half on just basically like, what is it, like however long this scene is in the actual movie. It's crazy. But
I think you laughed at
this
me
is like
when
a
I
solid
suggested
4,
this.
I think. Right?
Yeah,
think
I was
so
like, "Hey,
too.
let's watch this," and you were like, "What is it?" And we looked it up, and you were like, "Okay." but I would say 4.5, 5 for my rating. I enjoyed the hell out of this.
Yeah, I think so too. It's like it's an easy recommendation to anybody that enjoys movies and just wants to see that behind the scenes, and you don't see that too often anymore.
That's the truth.
Granted, it came out in the 90s or like 2000, so this you still don't see these documentaries done anymore.
We need more of them. That's what we need, more
Right?
of
Yeah,
these.
I think so.
The hereditary scene is next. Please give me the behind the scenes.
Just do a whole thing about that. Either the one scene or do the behind the scenes of Parasite. I want to see all that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That would be cool too.
Right. But all right, Kai, you want to take us out?
Yeah. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Saturday Night Popcorn. I'm Kai.
And I'm Jason, and we'll be back next week with another one. And please let us know if you've seen this documentary, 7852. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell us in the comments of whether or not you liked it or like the behind the scenes, anything you like. And please like and subscribe to Saturday Night Popcorn.